What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have T. Shanley as a sponsor of today's video. T. Shanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today. What's going on, family? Welcome to King Talk. I'm going to introduce the crew we got. Mr. M. White, Ink Law, Viz the Poet, Kenny P, me, myself, and Lapeef J. Welcome to King Talk, y'all.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing tonight?
What it do?
Good energy, good brother. How y'all feeling?
Bless. Pretty good.
It's good to see you, gentlemen, man. Glad to be here. Happy Tuesday as usual. Let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out the way. What's going on, AP? Shelly Hunts, Cold Blood, Rock Wallace, Red Listed Vibes. What's going on, man? President 48, Christopher. I got Christopher already. Fishing and Fit, welcome. As you guys come in, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You guys see me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I don't like this setup, man. Anyhow, we're gonna make it do what it do. Let's see. Make sure you guys click that Tees link, man. It's in the description. You guys get 40% off along with a free gift. And if you become a member, you get 20% off for life. So make sure you guys click that link that is in the description. I'm gonna go ahead and get this show started, man. The Black family is in crisis. I thought this would be an excellent topic because some people think we need to get rid of podcasts moving into 2025. You know, a lot of people say that we're not qualified to give advice, and we're having the same conversations over and over again. But the one thing that I know is that the numbers don't lie. And I can agree with that statement that the Black family is in crisis. So I got a couple videos that's going to give us a little bit of context. Got some questions, man. We're going to go ahead and dive into it. If you want to ask a question in the chat, go ahead and put it in there. I'll see if I'm able to get to it throughout the broadcast. We'll go ahead and get into it.
Yes, sir.
Anybody celebrating Christmas? I know some people don't celebrate holidays.
Yeah, we are. We celebrate the holidays. It ain't necessarily Christmas, but for me, it's the holidays. You're right.
All right. Is anybody that don't celebrate the holidays at all on the panel? All right. So,
I kind of was against on my in that phase, but I feel like I was robbing these kids of something. So we got a variation of it.
I feel like he was robbing. Why you say that?
Yeah, you know.
Like the whole holiday spirit they got. But really did it when they get around these other kids who have been celebrating and all this stuff, and then it's like, oh, that's not something we celebrate. And now they you know what I'm saying, they're around kids. You know how it is. When they with all them other kids, and you don't want your child to be the one that was without. So I kind of had to reframe how I thought about it for the good of the kids, at least at this phase.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, for me, it's more so the meaning of it. It's like, yeah, you know, I like the innocence of the holidays, but I don't want to push it on kids that are too young on what it actually is. You know what I'm saying? It's like enjoy what it is right now for what it represents to you. But as you get older, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's when you're at opportune time to understand that Santa Claus ain't real, then we can have some deeper conversations. You know what I'm saying? But let the kids have their innocence and play the game.
How long you gonna let them live that lie though, Law?
It ain't necessarily a law. It's like playing the game. You know what I'm saying? The Easter Bunny. My son just lost his first tooth, right? He 5. He just lost his first tooth. Yeah, I want to put the dollars under his pillow. You know what I'm saying? For a little while, make him feel good when he wake up. You dig what I'm saying? And see it was under there. But, you know, after a while, when it's time to know, like, hey, come on now, grow up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that happens around 6, 7, 8 years old. Before 10 years old, you need to know the real. You need to start understanding what's what. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, when you're 5, and it's so much harder to explain all the intricacies of what's going on. You just let them have it, let them have fun with it, and you keep it moving, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son, I told him he was in the 3rd grade when I had to break the news to his ass. You know, but he got in trouble. And so, you know, I told him he ain't getting nothing for Christmas. He said Santa gonna bring you something.
Well, let me tell you about Santa.
I'm Santa. He ain't bringing you shit.
Yeah.
Yep. Law, I about crush that boy's spirit.
Yeah, I mean, hey, when it's time, it's time. When you want to try and question it, well, little nigga, let me tell you something. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is. This is the real. But yeah, I get it, man. Yeah, you know, I let them live it for a little bit, and when it's time to know, you gonna know.
And at the time, my ex-wife, she already, you know, she believes in start that Christmas shopping in July, so he already had a few things. I said, man, we giving this to the Salvation Army. Angel Tree kids gonna get this shit. You ain't got the goddamn.
Right.
So the only thing he got was some socks and some underwear. He got the bare necessities.
Right.
It was a bad year for little.
Listen, I did it, bro. We did a little shopping today, and for me, that's because you know I got multiple children, so you know what I'm saying. We did a little shopping today, just trying to balance it out, make sure one ain't got more than the other. Let's even it out so everybody feels good and we keep it moving. You know, some kids easy to find shit for. You know what I'm saying? Certain sizes, that shit is a headache.
So let me ask you this: Did you put a budget on the kids? Because you know, as they get older, them kids, them gifts get a little more expensive.
Yeah, for me, it was more so like the hell with them kids. But it's what we gonna do the same for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I got 4. and they all different ages. You know what I'm saying? 22, 15, 9, and 5. Everybody got the same budget. I don't care. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But y'all all got the same budget. Cause some you getting more than you normally would anyway. Some got cars and insurance, and you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you gonna get more regardless. But you know, you do what you do.
All right. We'll go ahead and get this show started, man. I'm glad you guys are in the Christmas spirit. Hopefully, Santa get you guys what you want as well. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start our first video in reference to the Black families in crisis. Here we go.
And I want all the women in here to hear this. You hear what she just said, right? You had your guards up because of your past things, right? Mm-hmm. This is why men like younger women, because they don't have those experiences, those trauma ass decisions that you done been through your whole life that's keeping your guard up from me. This is why we date younger women. Hold on. Number 2, this is why it's important to marry while you are young. You guys are supposed to marry young and grow old together. You don't supposed to come with these fucking traumas from your past, traumas from our past, all this shit. But in our culture, it becomes the norm. And we try to find a way to cope with it and call it regular life. This is not regular life. The way we grew up is not regular life. And somehow we find a way to make an excuse for this shit. We're not supposed to have all these goddamn kids by all these different women. We're not supposed to be running around this motherfucker fucking hoes and doing all this shit, and women dressing like hoes and acting like niggas. Everybody is out of nature. Everybody. Both sides are fucked up. So now you have all these people coming in with they bullshit, and we trying to match with each other and see who bullshit outweighs or underweighs each other. This is why we all are single. Because all us got shit going on. Anything a motherfucker do is a trigger to us now. Anything. Mm-hmm. You done been with that many partners or been around these many situations that everything a motherfucker do, you didn't saw it before. Mm-hmm. So at what point can you open up if you've saw everything? Think about this. What point can you open up if you, oh, I remember my ex nigga did that, or my ex bitch did this, or he did that and she did this, and it's looking familiar. So these is why these gods is coming up, because we have too many partners and too much experience. We're not supposed to be like this, bro. We supposed to meet our wives in high school, stay with her to college, marry her, and be with her for the rest of our lives and learn. This is how it's supposed to be. Is it like that? No, that's not the norm in our culture, because we grew up without daddies, grew up in the hood, grew up with pimps and hoes, with gangsters and all this extra shit, drug selling. We didn't live normal lives. Our lives are fucked up where we come from. And somehow we try to make sense of it and make excuses for our bullshit. Every person in here that did some dumb shit. And I'll raise my hand and say me first. But I look back and say, damn, I wish I could have started over. Because I'm the person that I always wanted to be now. And it hurts me so bad that I didn't marry the mother of my children. That shit hurt, bro.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. I like the message that you put out there, because going into 2025, we got to start looking at things a little bit deeper. And we have to start to like really look to see what's going on. One of the things I noticed that he blamed both the men and women. He said everybody messed up out here. You know, we always trying to point the finger saying this gender did this, this gender did that, but we all bringing some effed up things to the table. He also mentioned about the advantages of marrying young. So I'm gonna kind of kick it off with that. What do you guys think about marrying young as far as when it comes to men? Because the point that he made was that the men out here dating as well, and they are also bringing their traumas to these relationships. So do you think that it's an advantage for men to marry young and to actually grow with that person?
I mean, what I don't know. Let me ask you this: what did they consider young? I mean, I know he said out of high school, but there's no way I would recommend a young man to marry a woman out of high school. Maybe after college, maybe. Then you're looking at a 21, 22-year-old young man looking to be married. Maybe then. But can't ask you, man. That's a hard ask. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't imagine. You know, advise my son to do something like that. So that's my only thing about young. So I say college age, I can rock with that. Anything younger than that, no, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, can you tell us why you wouldn't recommend it?
Because I believe the mindset as a man, you're supposed to provide a lot, and mentally, I can't see an 18-year-old in 2024 providing that for a woman. Nothing serious. I mean, just emotionally, he's just not going to be completely there. My son graduated when he was 17 in high school. I couldn't imagine him talking about that next year. Daddy won't get married. Nah, bullshit. Yeah. Just hold on. So mentally, I don't think they're ready for that, because they're still selfish. They still think about themselves and what they want to do and all that, and they don't have any idea about what type of sacrifice you have to make. I mean, you could try to explain them till you're blue in the face. They still not gonna get that.
Okay. What about you, Viz?
Yeah, I came extremely close to marrying my high school sweetheart. At the time, I would, especially now as an adult, I would definitely agree with Hank. Even though I wanted to do it, I thought I was ready for it. However, I definitely don't think that it was the right time. Simply because, and I think that this, of course, changes over the years, but I don't know if I would have, if that woman, even though she was an amazing woman, I don't know if that woman would have been the right person that I truly needed to feel comfortable with spending the rest of my days with, just to keep it a buck. Especially, again, being young, having that promiscuous stage that, we all go through or whatnot, exploring, not only outside, but even ourselves. So I don't recommend it. However, I think that it does work for certain people if you're mentally ready to take on that huge dedication at such a young age.
Okay. What about you, Kenny?
Well, as I think back and look at this question, maybe the gentleman is right, because we have a lot of regrets when we get older. That common saying, I wish I knew then what I knew now. I think that also takes a place with being in a budding relationship that would lead to a wedding and, finding a life partner. But they say, young man, your prefrontal lobe is fully developed by age of 25. I think you should give it some time before you're able to make decisions and be able to focus. College, I agree with Hank. Around the time when you have a certain direction, you got a little bit of accomplishment under your belt, you find somebody that's willing to roll up their sleeves with you. You go through the good, bad, and indifferent and stick with it. We find like the biggest thing between relationships, people are so quick to give up. They don't want to rough it out. They think love is the only thing that's consistent within it. They forget the cornerstone of relationships, which is duty. I'll leave it right there.
All right, go ahead, Law. I know you're about to say something.
Yeah, bro. You know, I got a little bit of something to say on this particular subject, being of the fact that, like, honestly, I feel like in my scenario, I'm an anomaly, right? Like, me and my wife have been together since high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the way through. You know, we had a great times, hard times, this, that, and the other. But it was at a certain point where we knew this was it. You know what I'm saying? This was gonna be what we gonna do. You know, we had children young. We my first daughter, my oldest she'll be 23 in less than 15 days, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's my oldest, and I'm a fairly young dude, as they would say. I'm 42, right? So my oldest will be 23 next month. And me and her mother have been together and had three more children after her. My oldest is 22, be 23. My youngest is 5 years old. However, we understood at a certain time, like, we want these same things for our children. So we need to do what we need to do to make sure that those are some things that we get done. We have common goals, we have common interests, we know what's important, just based on the values that we built a long time ago. So yeah, it can happen, but like I said, I feel like that's an anomaly. You dig what I'm saying? It's not something that happens often, but it is something that can happen. But I always talk about probability versus possibility. Will it
Hey,
probably
but
happen? No. Can it happen? Yeah.
Law, would how impactful was it that you guys had a child young in that decision?
Uh, I don't know. I don't think the child was first. What it was more so of what I wanted and what I saw coming up. You know, my parents were together 35 years plus till my father passed. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was something that I only understood to be what it was. You know what I'm saying? The nucleus was me, my mother, my father, my sister, us four. You dig what I'm saying? So it was something that was like really ingrained in me, like what I expected and what I wanted. I was also groomed up to be very particular and know what we think is this way and what it should be. And that was something that I wanted to live up to. You know what I'm saying? Those values were instilled in me very young. So I had core values that I knew made a good family. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that I wanted to continue. And for me, it's ingrained in me. You know what I mean? There's nothing more important. You dig what I'm saying? I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, but at the end of the day, that is most important. You dig? Like, that's it for me.
All right, what about you, Marcus?
So in a perfect world, I 100% agree with it. Said, but in the world we live in, that's how you get a Travis Hunter and old girl, where a dude don't have any experience and end up getting with a thought, and he pulling her along for the relationship because he don't have the wherewithal or the experience to understand, hey, this is not a good look. So I tend to lean on the side that men, specifically men, need to have experiences that help them determine when women are for them, right, or if they for the streets. Then moving forward, if you as a man have established that you want a family and you're gonna dedicate your life to the family, then move forward. I don't know if everyone is in the exact position where it's when they turn 18, the first thing on their mind is I want to, get married and build a family. I know I wasn't thinking about that. I was trying to live my life, and I was living it selfishly. So when I did have kids, I wouldn't have this, oh, I would be doing this if it wasn't for my kids. I would be doing this if it wasn't for my kids. So I wanted to make sure I never had a thought or inkling of that, because I've heard parents say stuff like that. They don't like. So the way I tried to like plan my life out was that I did everything I wanted to do first, and then I could dedicate the second half to them. You know what I'm saying? Or the middle portion, however that shit work out. But I do agree to having mothers and fathers in a home is probably one of the most instrumental things you can do for your children out of anything. Because like I've seen the results of when it's just a mother or when a kid raising themselves, and it's independent of the environment. You could be in the worst hood in the world, but with two good parents that can make the world a difference. You could be in the best suburb in the world with one parent and be out here wilding the fuck out. So yeah.
So, Mark, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's possible for a younger man to find a good woman? And if he does find a good woman at a younger age, should he continue to explore? Or would you tell him to just, he needs to stop there because there's probably nothing better out there?
I think it's possible to find a good woman at a young age. I don't know if that's going to be the same type of woman that you would want as you get older, because you kind of like, you know, depending on how you live in your life, you might your taste might mature, or you might not have the best selection process to vet correctly. You know what I'm saying? So in that ideal scenario where somebody finds somebody young, I think that people that are married in the family need to approve of that relationship early on in this hypothetical, because I just don't think young people have enough in mass in general, have enough this discernment to be able to pick exactly what's best for them when they that age. You know what I'm saying? We all been teenagers before. We all done did, you know what I'm saying, all type of shit we thought was right. We'll look at now and be like, man, hell no, don't. That's not the move. So the answer is yes, but with some family assistance.
So is it safe to say that if you come from a family that understands the values of marriage, of commitment, would that then alter the percentage of what we're saying right now?
Yeah. I would say definitely, because certain things as you grow up that you hold more weight on, right? You know what I mean? Something may carry more weight in something. That's what you've seen growing up, right? That's what you've seen or wanted to emulate as a man growing up. You want those things those are important to you because you saw that was important growing up, you know? So I think absolutely, bro, that'll give you an opportunity to figure out what's important, and then you have an opportunity to figure out what you want to lean more towards. If something's not important to me, like what's something I can honestly say is not important?
I got one for you.
Some kind of weight. I don't even know, man. I don't know what's important.
I got one for you. When I was younger, I didn't see really the problem with the back and forth. Like, I never really did it, but it wasn't something I was filtering for. Like, I'm not trying to date somebody that want to argue or want to go back and forth. Like, that's completely off my radar. But now it's a prime selective. Like, oh, you like to argue, your ass can go that way. That's not how this relationship gonna work. And I don't think young people have the emotional control to even understand that may not be something they want. Because when I hear men say stuff like, you know how women be, I'll be like, no, they don't be like that. Your woman be like that. The woman you selected be like that. That's not how women be acting. That's an independent problem you making general for everybody else. So yeah.
Facts.
All right. So do you think that the more men date and if they continue to have bad experiences, that they are contributing to why relationships are failing today?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you're gonna play the clip, but I just recently saw. Damn, I don't know if I'll share it in the group chat, but I did just see a clip of Dr. Umar talking about how when you have so many bodies, when you done caught so many bodies up into finding that one person, you're now not only comparing them, their personality, their traits, how they treat you, but how good the sex is damn near gonna outweigh all of the other amazing shit, you know what I'm saying, that she does. So if she's an amazing woman, she take care of everything, she treats you good, you know, but the pussy whack or the head whack, then it's like, man, you know, can I really deal with this? Even though this is good, I'm not really being met here. So now that impacts, your decision making as to where you're now letting go of your potential soulmate, your potential person that you're supposed to be with, be it during that season or for the rest of your days. These outside things that could have been avoided now has a tremendous impact on your decision making.
Viz,
Well,
let me
I
ask
don't
you,
know
what
because
you got it.
no, what I'm just I don't because we I don't know. I may be speculating. I may be reaching, but we all dealt with that crazy chick just because we thought she had that good cat, and we put up with her because she had that good cat. But there was a breaking point. Yeah, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep getting these headaches. Keep going back and forth. Her busting the goddamn windows at my car. I know the cat's good, but it ain't that goddamn good. Or I need to keep paying a deductible, get my damn windows replaced. I'll get my a paint job because it's heifers writing cheetah on the side of my car. Now I'm not saying this because I experienced it. I'm saying it because I seen it.
Hey, but that strengthens the point though, because the only reason we did deal with that was because the cat was good. So even then, during that time, if we did come across that square chick, where the cat not that great, but and she gullible or easy or whatever, you damn near gonna abuse that just because you got this more toxic cat on the side that's getting you right every time.
But this my thing is, which is why I kind of hesitate about the sweethearts fall in love. The ability to have sex with women, once you have sex with enough women, it don't be the forefront of your decision making no more.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's true.
But that come with experience though. So at that point, you know what I'm saying, is that experience worth the squeeze, as they say? Because what if you knock her up? What if you find yourself in a position where you done knocked her up? Or what if you find yourself in a position where she done burnt you? So now was it really worth gaining the experience that most men tell young men to go out there and get?
I would hope.
Go ahead, Viz. I mean, go ahead, Law. I'm sorry.
My bad, y'all. I just feel like I would hope the older gentleman that's giving the younger gentleman any kind of advice, they're not telling them to just run out there and do this, that, or the other. You know what I'm saying? As myself being an older gentleman, right? I'm gonna tell them, I'm gonna make fun of them if you don't wrap it up. I'm gonna make them understand how ridiculous they been by not taking those precautions as they should. Because that's how you do it. You shame those that aren't doing what they supposed to. And that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Around me and my nephews. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to, I'm going to shame you. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to feel like I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to make sure you understand we're going to make fun of you. Because guess what? In man culture, this king talk, right? We make fun of the losers. Because all you have to do to not be a loser is do the things you're supposed to. And the things you're supposed to are this, this, and this. We put it plain and simple to you. So my nephews, if you do some stupid shit, I'm gonna call you out on it. I'm gonna make sure you know you fucked up, and make sure you don't want to do it again. But we can't do that. Yeah, my bad, bro. Question.
Nah, I'm just gonna ask you a question. So are you telling them to not have sex at all, or are you telling them to have sex
if you're
but just wrap it up?
Do the things that we taught you to do. You know what you need to do to be smart. Protect yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? You know you need to do these things to prevent any issues happening that you are not prepared for. If you're not prepared for it, then you need to prevent it. You right? So I tell them, hey, if you did this, hey, I know you wrapped it up, right? You know what I'm saying? If I think you didn't, and I say you ain't even wrap up, did you? I'm gonna clown you. I'm gonna clown you all night, and I'm gonna talk about all the worst things that can happen, right? Because I'm gonna rub it in. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you, oh, this gonna happen. Hey, this could happen. This could happen. This could happen, and you gonna be mad at me about it.
Hey,
You know why?
but Laurel,
Because I want it to matter.
but Laurel,
Yeah.
but let's keep it a buck though. We know that in many situations, both for men, young men and young women, you can be like, man, that motherfucker is no good for you. Even if they are wrapping it up, like, hey, this not a good look for you. They still gonna do whatever they want to, even if you do shame them. You know, man, you know, shorty a bust them, right? What the fuck you wifing her for? That's damn near gonna make them wife her even harder. I know we talked about, well, y'all talked about it last week, but the current situation with old boy, you know, all of the shit that's coming out, you know, about his girl or fiance or whatever. I'm sure multiple people before it even got out in public told him like, hey man, but just off the strength of all of these people saying it, it's like, man, fuck that. I love this motherfucker.
What was my rebuttal to that? What was my thing that I said though? I don't care. You can feel how you feel. Wrap it up, B. Right? Protect yourself. We're protecting ourselves. It ain't just because of when we say protect yourself, unwanted baby, right? Because that links you to this woman that you having fun with forever, right? So wrap it up, B. Take care of yourself. Don't put yourself in those scenarios where you're gonna be locked in to this, right? You can have as much fun as you want. You can go hit every stripper you want that you ever met. If you wrap it up, you protect yourself. We cool. That's not my issue. But when you make those poor decisions that put you in a situation to where you're locked into this deceitful individual that's doing it for monetary gain, now you're in trouble. But if you protect yourself, bro, just do what you're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Do what you're gonna do. But yeah.
All right, so like I do have a question because I'm listening to the messaging. You know, we talk about good character, integrity. Then why isn't the messaging should be to wait until you marry so that you're not putting yourself in those situations at all? Because if you get to the situation and something happened, you can just totally eliminate it. So do you think it's a problem with the messaging that we're putting out there to the young men and to other men?
I just don't think it's realistic though, JR. Not in 2024, 2025. Look, I didn't go by to say, no, you better not do it because of this and this. Yeah, I put that as part of my message with my son and my daughter, but at the same time, I also put in a message, like I taught my son how to put on a condom. I put my daughter on birth control when she was in the 8th grade because she came home with a goddamn hickey on her neck. I said, we're not doing this. We are not doing this. So I had to do what I had to do in order to prevent my daughter from being a teenage parent. I had to do what I had to do from my son being a teenage parent, because in 2024, everything sped up. It's crazy. When I was a substitute teacher, I'm in an elementary level, and we found condoms in the kids' bathroom. These are 5th graders. We are talking about 10 years old, to the most 11 in elementary, and they already having sex. Yeah. When I seen that, I had that conversation with my son and my daughter. Well, with my daughter mainly, but my son wasn't here yet. But that was wild to me. I thought I would never see the day hearing about a 10 or 11-year-old having sex. But that's what it is. And so you got to be ahead of the curve and let them know, okay, look, I don't want you. I don't encourage you to do it. I wouldn't tell you to do it. But for some reason, if you decide to do this, I need for you to know the word of protection. If she says no, that means you stop and you get the fuck out of there.
Yep.
You leave, you leave your goddamn dorm door open until the time is right. And if she says, I don't feel comfortable then you get up and you leave the room. I don't care if you don't have your condom. Don't accept one from another woman. Don't accept one from anybody, but let alone another woman. You don't know her intentions. You go home,
Hey,
you beat
but
your meat that night, get that lotion, you take a shower, you call it a night. Maybe come back tomorrow. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe you won't. But we don't force ourselves on nobody, and we don't go in our naked head.
Yep.
Hey, I think a part that we are kind of leaving out too, to JR's point, is, of course, not only the possibility of the young lady getting pregnant, but also the emotional tie and mental tie that a motherfucker would have with her, to the point where if something don't go his way, he end up crashing out. You know, we see that a lot too. Even if he is wrapping it up, just being at a young age, and the insecurity or the jealousy, you know, that playing a part, to where now he want to whoop everybody, or he, you know what I'm saying, find himself in a situation where somebody done drew down on him because he done put hands on her, or whatever the case may be. They have a domestic. It now, all of these situations escalated to a point of where, again, it's like, is it really worth it? I think one thing that we do fail as a community, especially nowadays, to do, is to show the value of your body, of not having a super high body count. I was just with one of my guys when I was in Chicago, and he said he got at least, he probably close to 1,000. It's like, bro, what? You done hit 1,000 chicks, in which I could believe it, but it's the devaluing of self, in my opinion. There's 900 plus women out there that can say, "Oh man, I done had I done had buddy before," you know, compared to it being a smaller number of it.
Yeah, but Viz, even when we was at our best in our community, we still never valued that. We still was going ham. You know what I'm saying? It didn't stop. It didn't slow us down. I think part of the problem was our parents was uncomfortable with having certain conversations, and so we had to learn on the fly. You know what I'm saying? I learned about sex by watching, you know, movies. I don't have to say what type of movies. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's why I learned about it. Now, that's just unfortunate. My dad was too uncomfortable with having the conversation. About time he did, I done had 5 bodies already. That you too late. You too late, no. I mean, you trying to have a conversation with me now, you too late. I done conquered 5 people so far. And, you know, I think I'm doing something. But, you know, that's just what it is. I just think we need to be more open and honest with our kids and having a conversation as early as possible. Now, try to be sensitive to their age. Try to be sensitive to their maturity level. But at the same time, I would encourage parents to have this conversation as soon as possible. And if they're young, use the proper scientific names that we call the penis and the vagina. Don't use a slang. They have no understanding of that shit. Use the scientific name, so in case you do get a book and you point out a book, they're going to see the scientific name that you explain to them. That's what I would encourage parents to do. But you just wait and say, oh, man, I'm dreading the day we got to talk about the birds and the bees. Bullshit. By the time you're going to talk to them, it's going to be just like I was. It's going to be too late. They're going to be in elementary talking about it. They're going to be in middle school already done it.
And
in high school, they're giving birth. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, bro, I was going to say, and that's something, like you mentioned, that's something that, like you said, it will be too late. You need to start having some of these conversations beforehand, because right now in these schools, they be telling them some bullshit. You dig? They'll be telling them some straight up bullshit about multiple genders and it's okay for this and okay for that. You need to make sure your children have a understanding of what's real and what is the understanding in your household, because they trying to take that away from us. Like literally, they are trying to. They are preaching it. Hey, listen, half of the teachers are in that community. You dig what I'm saying? Like, hands down, half of the teachers are in that community. And if your teacher has more time with your child than you do while them children are awake, that's something you need to actually be worried about and paying attention to, because they'll indoctrinate your children with what's going on in their households. They'll tell them 5, 10 times a day about how their husband is doing this or their wife is doing that. You dig what I'm saying? And your children are sitting there listening to that, not understanding how that's warping their brain. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of who's teaching your kids, what's going on in the schools, because I'm telling you, they have the most time with your children, and I know it firsthand.
One of the other things I wanted to bring up too is that we're talking about the Black family is in crisis. So I know on the internet we often hear about women have gone through traumatic experiences, and so if we are encouraging men to have sex or to gain experience, do you think that while they're gaining the experience, they're simultaneously damaging the women? And then we complain about the same women that's damaged, but a lot of men are the one that's damaging them. So it's kind of like it's a circle of just nobody being conscious of what's going on. Do you think there's some truth in that?
I think it's a slight amount of truth in that. But so like when I was younger, right? If a girl told me she was a virgin, I knew I wasn't trying to take her seriously. I wouldn't have messed with her. I would have, you know what I'm saying? It had to be somebody that already was actively out here. Like I wasn't trying to go find women and corrupt them. These women was already corrupted for the most part. But I get your point. I definitely get your point.
Well, yeah, but somebody corrupted them though. I think that you, Mark, as you know, not everybody understands the game. So it's gonna be some niggas that's out there that'll literally prey on that chick just because he knows that she's a virgin. You know, that goes back to the value thing where now even just being able to say, oh man, I got 5, I popped 5 cherries, you know what I'm saying, type of deal. Like that's a bragging point to some guys that abuse the game.
All right. Anybody else on that? All right. Harrison Davis says salute, $5. Appreciate you, sir. I do want to run that video back just one more time, man, just to see if anything else y'all want to pull up out of there. I know sometimes we miss it.
And I want all the women in here to hear this. You hear what she just said, right? You had your guards up because of your past things, right? Mm-hmm. This is why men like younger women, because they don't have those experiences, those trauma ass decisions that you done been through your whole life that's keeping your guard up from me. This is why we date younger women. Hold on. Number 2, this is why it's important to marry while you are young. You guys are supposed to marry young and grow old together. You don't supposed to come with these fucking traumas from your past, traumas from our past, all this shit. But in our culture, it becomes the norm. And we try to find a way to cope with it and call it regular life. This is not regular life. The way we grew up is not regular life. And somehow we find a way to make an excuse for this shit. We're not supposed to have all these goddamn kids by all these different women. We're not supposed to be running around this motherfucker fucking hoes and doing all this shit and women dressing like hoes and acting like niggas. Everybody is out of nature. Everybody. Both sides are fucked up. So now you have all these people coming in with they bullshit, and we trying to match with each other and see who bullshit outweighs or underweighs each other. This is why we all are single, because all us got shit going on. Anything a motherfucker do is a trigger to us now. Anything. You didn't been with that many partners or been around these many situations that everything a motherfucker do, you didn't saw it before. So at what point can you open up if you saw everything? Think about this. What point can you open up if you, oh, I remember my ex nigga did that, or my ex bitch did this, or he did that and she did this, and it's looking familiar. So these is why these gods is coming up, because we have too many partners and too much experience. We're not supposed to be like this, bro. We supposed to meet our wives in high school, stay with her to college, marry her, and be with her for the rest of our lives and learn. This is how it's supposed to be. Is it like that? No, that's not the norm in our culture, because we grew up without daddies, grew up in the hood, grew up with pimps and hoes, with gangsters and all this extra shit, drugs selling. We didn't live normal lives. Our lives are fucked up where we come from. And somehow we try to make sense of it and make excuses for our bullshit. Every person in here that did some dumb shit. And I'll raise my hand and say me first. But I look back and say, damn, I wish I could have started over. Because I'm the person that I always wanted to be now. And it hurts me so bad that I didn't marry the mother of my children. That shit hurt, bro.
Yo, I want to just give a big shout out Molly Mall, man. He right from the crib here in Chicago, right over there from where I'm from, off of North Avenue. Listen, you know what I'm saying? It's great to hear that from somebody. I didn't know him personally. I know Molly Mall from just the area. You know what I'm saying? We grew up in the same hood. I think he a few years older than me, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's great to hear that, because, you know, that's what we need. Honestly, you need those ones that people knew and like myself, that they can see doing it, but we need more individuals willing to do that. You dig what I'm saying? Like, real talk, bro. I was fortunate enough to meet my wife in high school. You know what I'm saying? And for us to build and grow. That don't mean we ain't go without struggles. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's something that we both made a conscious effort. And to hear Molly Mall speak on it, shout out to him, Joe. Shout out the city. You know what I'm saying? Chicago, West Side, Best Side. Y'all know what time it is, man. That's all I got. So don't get me started.
Repping your hood. Salute to that. I get his point. I get the message that he's trying to push out there. We all know that we grow up in trauma and we normalize it. I don't think we're making excuses if we're doing it involuntarily. But a lot of us are growing up in the same way, so it's hard to differentiate and have somebody bring a healthy perspective in until you move out of your situation and you see how other normalities go about. And you need that culture shock to see that, you know what I was doing wasn't conducive to a healthy relationship. Me being the man that went out there and popped 5 cherries and got 14 baby mamas, 18 kids, that wasn't the way, even though I got stripes from the dudes around the way, like I'm that super Mac. I'm that woman that doesn't take accountability for knowing that this man isn't the best thing for me, but I still want to be with him because he's handsome. He's 6 feet. He's the guy getting all the money on the block. And that's okay. When does your conscience kick in and say, you know what? This is short term. I've seen her do it with 3, 4 other girls. This is just my turn. I think responsibility, when you get to a certain age, you know right from wrong, cognitive dissonance. I salute the brother for stepping out there and putting himself out first while he was giving the message. You find a lot of people, they're at the podium pounding, and they don't look in the mirror and say, you know what? I also eat my own cooking. So I'm going to push this message because we need to get right. And we need more voices like that. Shout out to King Talk. Voices in action.
You want to say something, Viz?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead.
No, I will say this. I will say this though. I think that it's important. I think that it is important to hear men, especially older men, say exactly what he said, to where he wished he would have married his baby mama. I think that often we would hear the opposite. But again, that'll go back to knowingly and willingly placing yourself in a position to where you would even get this woman pregnant in the first place, to where you wouldn't see yourself being with her forever. So, but I think that it is important for young men to hear older men absolutely saying, man, I wish I would have done what one would consider is the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I like what the brother said too, man. I think he spit some real, and I think that message can apply for some folks. I still think it's all about balance. I mean, if you can get it early and you got some experience, then I think it's easier for you to make that decision. But some people don't come into their shell until they get a little bit older. And that's kind of like unfortunate. But I'm hoping that as we raise our children, or either speak to the youth, speak to the young folks, that we try to raise them up properly, try to get them in the game early, try to put them in situations, and even when they're going through situations, being able to point out things, and then by following up, making sure that they understand what it is that we discuss. A lot of times we just be talking and we're not even checking in to see if they understand the message. And so they just live in life, they're just saying, okay, because they really don't even want to hear the message. But you got to challenge them at a young age to not just be saying, yes, okay, do you understand? Yeah, I understand. Okay, what is it you understand? I understand what you said. What did I say? And don't go down their throat. It's just because some people, it's hard for people to listen. And we coming into an age where they're putting out short content because they understand people's attention span. It's like they're programming people to be able to pay attention less. And then you got some people that go against the grain and they still reading the books. They're looking at long form content. They are actually looking at that short or that reel and seeing where it actually came from so they can hear how the conversation unfolded. And I think that's what we need to be really instilling in our kids, in our children, family, friends. Because, I mean, you got to take care of your family too. And we talking about the Black families in crisis. Just think about how a lot of people go their own separate ways. We're starting to have less and less like Black family reunions. A lot of folks are not even getting up on the holidays. They're not having the barbecues no more. Everybody just doing them, and we dying off and said, damn, I haven't seen them. I had just talked about them instead of like I've just seen them. So when we talk about the Black family crisis, I really think that we have to understand it's going to be up to us to carry on these traditions and to keep the family united and to make the change. And a lot of times that change might be too late for us, and you might have the few ones that made it out okay, like the Laws and the Trills and the Trevs and everybody else that started young. But we got to make sure that the people that's coming up behind us, whether it be the family or whether it be friends or people that just look up to us, we got to make sure that we are in a position to try to get them right so that we can leave the earth and the world in a better place. Because I think that's the goal right now. Let me go ahead and play this second clip, man. We get into it. This is actually in the King Talk group, and I know Humble Dad sent this to me as well, but it plays right into what we're discussing. So here we go.
I give on the 5 biggest challenges Black people have for the next 100 years. The number one challenge is the existential crisis of the Black family. The existential crisis of the Black family. Marriage in our culture is down to 34%. When we were growing up, it was 85%. It's now down to 34%. 71% of our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married, 63% of our brothers are not married, 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture. This only exists This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistics. For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one, they're number three, and there's a reason for it. So, who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians, $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. Two are working. Who's number two? Chinese Asians. Household median income, $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people. Household median income, $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%. Down significantly. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income, $61,000 a year. Marriage rate, close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income, $55,000 a year. Marriage rate, 34%. And projected, based on facts and statistics, that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. We must, this is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it.
Oh. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Black families in crisis. Go ahead, Lo.
Facts, bro. Listen, that's something that, as I always say, the Godfather would always speak on. And when y'all know I say the Godfather, I'm speaking about the good brother, Kevin Samuels. Listen, bro, we are at a deficit in putting these families together. And I have 3 daughters, and my youngest is my son, and I'm worried for all of them. Right now, I just left my family's house where I have 2 male cousins. They both are under 35 years old, and they married to black women, right? You know what I'm saying? And well, one black woman, one Hispanic, but whatever, who cares, right? You know what I'm saying? And they are both still waiting to have children, right? You guys are an example of what we need to do going forward to help build good families. You are an example that comes from a good family that need to push that forward. We need to concentrate on doing that because, as he stated, that's the biggest issue that we have. And that's that great divide that we see between black women and black men. You know, we talk very frequently on the differences between, you know, male and female relationships. Then on the other shows you got Lapeef throughout the week, that's a main topic. On my show, Facts and Law Pod show, we talk about the differences and the divide between male and female relationships. We need to figure out a way to bridge that, to build into relationships as opposed to continuously discussing why they are apart. Because that's something that we got a whole wealth of knowledge on why they're apart. Now we need to figure out what we need to do to bring those together and show the values of bringing those relationships together and what it can bring. So yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, Law. I think the biggest issue, especially now with us having the internet, with us having YouTube and podcasts, we talk about the problems with no solutions. And then on top of that, we spend more time on why black women act this way, why black men act this way, but we leave out what comes with having a good woman, what comes with becoming a husband. As scripture tells us, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, and all of and God will open up the doors unto that man to be able to receive everything to take care of his family. So I think if we focus on that more, then that'll help us in recovering in this ridiculous deficit that we see, because nobody wants to put in the work. Nobody wants to go through those hard times. It's easier to walk away because of the idea that there's options out there, or I'd rather be alone, when that's not what we were made for. So the more that we push that narrative, the further away it is that we get. And I think that it's terrifying that we have that low of a percentage of marriage in the Black community. And we see it directly as to why the effects of what's coming from it. Our kids can't read. You know, we all in jails. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. And I personally can't say that we can continue to blame white people, because we're literally doing it to ourselves with the movies that we make. Tyler Perry putting out trash, but he a multi-billionaire. The music that we listening to that's being played on the radio, nobody says nothing about that. We not boycotting that. We not marching for that. There's no Black Lives Matters for that. But we'll do it for everything else if somebody does it to us. But what it is that we're doing to ourselves, it goes unanswered. So I think if we do that, if we fix everything in-house first, then that's going to impact everything else to the greater good.
I don't know if somebody was going to go. Hank, go ahead.
Viz, I don't, you know, if you remember that conversation we had on a couple Wednesdays ago, and how the ladies, like, you know, they wasn't willing to build with a man. They wasn't willing to do certain sacrifices about marriage. Look, one of the things I know that we hear about it a lot on the internet is the downplay of stepfathers. There was a time period, man. You know, stepfathers was revered. Because you had a lot of women out here who was having kids. Now, of course, the count of kids, women having kids now is a lot less. But there was a time period that it wasn't. And so, you know, now it's like, man, you being a stepfather it's like you damn near ashamed. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that's what's going to have to happen. Because you got some women out here still that's not married, but they have kids outside of marriage. Somebody's going to have to hustle. Somebody's going to have to get with them. If we're trying to build a community, they are part of our community, whether we like it or not. I know it may look like it's a black eye because they are single with child, or are unwed with, you know, having babies out of wedlock. They still part of our community, still part of the building process. So, you know, what do we do with them? We just cast them off to the side, just let them die off? I don't know.
I mean, it's always survival of the fittest, though. So even if they don't want to settle and conform to that man that they may come across, then so be it. It's on them. There's 6 billion people on the planet. So even though, Hank, I would even say, even though they were saying that, many of them would. I think that in public, people say certain things that they would never do. I won't do this. I'll never do that. But let the right man come along. They're going to do everything that they said they weren't going to do. So I think I agree with what you're saying 100%. But we already know women is they gonna be wishy washy, and all it takes is for that one man to come along, and they gonna come on over to the dark side.
No, that's right, Viz. I know that's right. Welcome, ladies.
So Viz, I want to kind of go in on that. I disagree with you, bro. I think that argument, when you start to kind of go into like the music we listen to or the movies that we make, I feel like that becomes the chicken or the egg argument. You dig what I'm saying? Like art imitates life. You dig what I'm saying? If life wasn't put in those scenarios first, then we wouldn't be able to make the art to represent it. You dig what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. As an artist, I feel like people make the art that replicates what they're going through, and which one comes first, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, yeah, I agree, but I gotta disagree as well, because bro, when it
No,
comes to
bro.
just making
So Michael, Michael Irvin's son. That clip has been recirculating.
mm-hmm.
There's a clip of him on a podcast where he like,
the
man,
terrible rapper boy. Yeah, I know.
he say my son raps about the hardest shit ever in life.
Yeah.
And he like, boy, you grew up in a 20,000 square foot home, gated community.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless, you don't even have to have lived through that. But the fact that a person is being influenced by it, they're going to create that very life. There was this one kid from Chicago, from the burbs, out in the burbs out in my area. The nigga was spoiled rotten, got whatever he wanted all throughout high school. Had a car, clothes, and this clown unalived his mama.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna say that.
For some money, just to flaunt.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And act like he had this tough life. Nah, bro.
But that's not
we see that so much. We saw the impact of drill music just off the strength of it going out to London. You know what I'm saying? Where drill music is a thing in London, and they out there gang banging, crime that went through the roof, all because they was introduced to drill music in much of the country.
You got it backwards.
So,
they were doing drill music before it came over here.
And that's what I'm saying, bro. I disagree with the fact of it's not the
they was
music.
Doing drill music before they came.
It wasn't called drill music, but it still had the same energy. Right. Listen, bro, the energy of the people is going to reflect, right? You do what I'm saying? If they like the way this particular genre sounds, they may do it more, but it doesn't mean they're not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, I hate when we try and pigeonhole this type of music as to a reflection on how people are going to act, where I feel like it's more so a reflection of the way people act is in the music. I think the chicken comes before the egg in that scenario. We are creating, like, if everybody's happy all the time and making money, you're probably going to have a lot happier music. You're not going to be as adversarial, right? Because you are not adversaries. You don't have a reason to be beefing. If you have an opportunity and a reason to beef because y'all digging for the same goddamn it nut, then yeah, it's going to be a reflection of what you're going through. But if you're in a better scenario, if everybody got something to do, if we, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot less likely that we're going to be killing each other for this same 2 blocks. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel.
Yeah, I don't think you could. So I disagree with you too, Vince. I don't think you can. What Jay-Z say? Scarface, the movie did more than Scarface, the rapper, to me. Still, that ain't to blame for all the shit that's happened to me. Are you kidding? Is what I'm spitting worse than these celebrities showing they kidding? You remember them bars?
Of course.
Like, so yeah.
But Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
So I'm with Law. I think that it imitates life and it can influence people, right? But that Michael Irvin situation with his son, that's not the norm. That's more of an anomaly. Like Michael Irvin's son and T.I.'s son, and they're anomalies where people go this far and just be out here acting like they get active all the time. That's not
Come
that's
on,
not
my bro.
that's not the norm. You saying most people who got rich parents is out here making drill music and acting like they gangbang.
Yes.
No, bro.
Yes. Come on,
That's
bro.
an anomaly.
Let's keep it a buck. Especially nowadays, most rappers not doing what they talk about. They're
That's different.
offers is literally going out of their way to live that lifestyle. That's not different. It's the same exact thing.
Name 5.
If you're actually in the trenches compared to somebody that wants to be in the trenches, they want to fit this narrative. CB4 was a prime example. That was an early example of what we actually see. We could even use old boy that shot Ricky and Boys in the Hood. He was a square before that movie, but once he did the movie, he went full-fledged into character.
But he
To
wasn't a
where
rapper.
he went to jail and got unalived in there because of it.
Yeah, but he wasn't a rapper.
We could even say that with Pac. We could argue with Pac situation when he was on Juice. Once he did Juice,
Pac was
his whole persona changed.
I disagree.
My
bad, Biz. I gotta disagree on that, Joe. We say that, but y'all gotta remember, like, the brother's first album was still, you know what I'm saying, talking about the struggles. Like, people say that, and then it's like you gotta realize this brother was very consistent in the values that he had, and he represented those pretty thoroughly. You know what I mean? It wasn't a back and forth. It was pretty consistent when you look at his first album all the way through, even from his content on his songs. You know what I'm saying? Like Thug Life was his second album, wasn't it? You know what I'm saying? Like his first video, he was locked up in a cell, right? Talking about being, you know what I'm saying, locked up and being trapped. You dig what I'm saying? So like we gotta think about all that when we start to say those things, and it's almost like you try and make a young 25-year-old a hypocrite when he was fairly consistent throughout. You know what I'm saying? Like he was consistent.
I never said that he was a hypocrite. What I'm saying is that post Juice is really once we saw a huge change. I was young, so I can only go off
blow
of what
up after Juice, bro. But that don't mean
Okay,
he
you
wasn't
said
who he
post
was.
Juice. Hold on. So let's do the chronology. Post Juice, he started making gangster music immediately after that.
That's not what I said. What I'm saying is that
question.
No, what I'm saying is that his image and his character that he was, to me, it changed drastically. The image that he put out into the media changed drastically after Juice. There's even documents. It's documented that many people that were surrounded around Pac saw that change and that shift and speaks on it, that he really fed into that gangster lifestyle.
His
and
shift
that
came
helped
after
to
he got
excel
shot.
and exceed his career.
His minor shift came after he got shot. When he post Juice, he was with Digital Underground. I Get Around. He was more bouncy. You understand? Then the lyrics started getting more intense after he thought that people was gunning for him. And he mistook the robbery at Quad Studios for Biggie and Diddy them trying to put a hit on him. Because it was bad timing when he dropped Who Shot You. I remember that. And everybody thought it was favored to him. Then he started making lyrics to match the energy that was put on. Then you started the East Coast, West Coast. As for him being a gangster, he was surrounded by gangsters. He stood for certain things. You forgot his mother, Afeni Shakur, Panther. They had values, but you can't blur those lines. And Mob James and all those people around death row would tell you he wasn't doing most of the stuff. They was. You understand? But he's the cash cow. You got to protect him, and ego played a part in some ways. So I can give you that. But on a whole, he was a great artist that spoke to the streets. And I don't want you to like get past like, you know, parenting comes from the home. Nothing can influence your kids better than home training. You forgot C. Dolores Tucker? You said there was no forces out there politically actually trying to curb the gangster music. Remember her when she had all the CDs and she had the the pavement machine just going over them? There was a lot of influence out in the communities pushing against certain type of music that denigrated souls. It's big business, but it starts at the home. You can't put the onus on other people for what we should be doing at home with our kids. So I get your point.
I never put the onus on other people for what we should be doing with our kids. But regardless, at the end of the day, we all know that influence is extremely impactful on a person. We all know that music, media, these things are all extremely influential on people, on culture. So we can't take away and ignore that power. Again, I just brought up Michael Irvin. I'm pretty I don't know if he's been married the entire time that he was with his son's mother or whatever the case may be. But this is a privileged, an extremely privileged young man that is literally rapping about, and the music is trash, but he's rapping about shit that he never experienced. So, and he's fed with a silver spoon. So that's not something that's uncommon in our culture.
That's an outlier. Yeah. Not many of them, and I can't jack that. Not many of them come from palatial estates, you know, with 2 loaves of bread and sausage under each arm, pockets full of money. A lot of them come from struggle. That's where the music comes from. The majority of them, they come from the areas that they say they come from. You only have outliers, a handful that speak it, that ain't from there, like a Soulja Boy, you know, a Chris Brown getting with the Bloods when he started getting notoriety, and a couple other people. That's not the majority.
So if these privileged young men, Soulja Boy, Chris Brown, extremely privileged, especially Chris Brown, the fact that he was even able to go to the Bloods, to the Pyrus, you know what I'm saying, and they accept him, that alone should say a lot.
Well,
about what?
Couple things.
That they made a business decision that they could milk him while they protect him from any other outside forces. That's a business decision. I think they're quite smart for doing that.
They not.
Here's my thing, right?
That's not a protecting thing. That's not a protective move.
It's not.
That's a wanting to be affiliated.
Chris Brown.
Not.
Why would Chris Brown need to be protected? And he's an R&B singer.
What if it's more than just not wanting to be protected, right? So, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I want us to kind of.
But that's my point, Law. It's the want to be a part. It's the want to be a part of what our culture.
But what if I don't think that's what it is with him, bro? Like, so here's my thing, right? Y'all gotta understand. Sometimes some people, real talk, like some people, you belong with certain energies, right? You are who you are, regardless of where you're from, right? I remember years ago, when I talk about this all the time, I said it on my show, right? You remember the show that Ashton Kutcher had, Punked, right? You dig what I'm saying? So Punk, they surprise the celebrities and what have you, and put them in scenarios where you want to see how they really act and so on and so forth. Well, this was one Punked episode where they had the boy Chris Brown on there. He was probably 16 years old, maybe 16, maybe 17. And it was him and his mom's at a restaurant. The joke was they were going to have a waiter disrespect his mom's and see what happens. Now, this is before all the scandal. This is when he's just a young R&B kid, so on and so forth, right? Now, they punk him, and the waiter starts to disrespect his mother. He bucks up. He's about to whoop anybody that come close to him. He went in. You know what I'm saying? But it's a prank. He didn't care. He didn't know. He was just being him. I didn't say he was trying to act like a gangster or none of that, but some people are just not going to be about that bullshit, right? And some people are going to put themselves, you know what I'm saying, out there regardless of what it is. It's not about what I do. Sometimes it's just who I am. The boy is from Nowhere Land, Virginia. You dig what I'm saying? Like, it's rough down
Right.
there. You know what I'm saying? So it's
But
not
the
like you
nigga not no
necessarily
blood though, bro. Like he
I
didn't
mean,
grow up in no blood neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
bro,
He didn't grow up around gangbanging. That
my
the
thing
whole
is,
reason why he even became affiliated was not even a part of the original laws and policies. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The
So
only reason he did it, in my opinion, is for clout.
so
So
let
there
me
that
it
ask,
is. I give you
so
another example.
I'm not taking away. I
mhm.
can't take away the fact that he may get bucked. But I don't know. It could be because he a light skinned dancing ass nigga,
Or
So
and
it
Okay.
could
he
be
gotta
sometimes you
protect
just
himself.
All right. I see Marcus trying to get in there,
sometimes you can
y'all.
be, yeah, Marcus, go ahead. My bad.
yeah, so LA is notorious for robbing rappers, robbing singers, robbing all of those people. Chris Brown is a local popping artist in LA who goes to the club. And you've been to different cities. If you're gonna be outside, a lot of times you need to know who's gonna be outside and have some type of relationship with them. Should he have full on took a flag and start gang banging? No. But if you're gonna be in these spaces, you're gonna need some friends and friendships in all walks of life. So yeah, it does add to street credibility for some people, like suburban white kids who want to say, yeah, he with the shits who don't understand all the politics of gang life. But to act like Pop Smoke didn't get caught slipping out there, to act like a gang of other artists don't get killed in LA for not, you know what I'm saying, having any affiliation with anybody, that's dishonest, bro. You know that happens. I'm not saying that the only
I'm
reason
saying
he because of that, because he could have potentially
the
hired white or prestigious security, black,
yeah, I'm saying, bro,
but still,
you
well,
talking like Neo, then went and joined the Rolling 60s. You know what I'm saying? Usher had to
MJ
go.
did. MJ was cripping.
MJ was from Gary though.
Chris Brown from VA.
Okay, I'm glad you
Oh,
mentioned Neo
Bro,
oh
and
my,
no,
those
my
man.
thing is,
type of people. You don't think
I
they pay
can't, like,
tax?
you know what I'm saying, bro? That's what my thing, like you just said, like Kenny just said, like, you got to think about it. Look, right? If I come to town, I know I'm gonna be living here and I need security. And my homie that I met here, this been my homie since I touched down. And he like, man, me and my guys got you. Them niggas just happen to be Bloods. And I'm paying all my money to Bloods for my security. And them the niggas that's gonna be out here and making sure I'm straight. Yeah, then you're probably gonna end up, hey, I ride with the Bloods. Now you're a Blood by affiliation. You ain't gotta be an actual Blood, but check it. These niggas y'all gonna see me with. These niggas that's gonna hold it down. These niggas gonna be standing outside. These niggas gonna be walking me here and there. Like, I ain't gonna disrespect them. These my homies. And they on my payroll. Like, look,
And they come with the resume not to be played with.
it's like,
Man, yo, all of that sound good.
All right, let's
But
go ahead
as
and tap
we
back
all
into the topic, y'all, the black family in crisis. So we can go
Let's
ahead
get
and
yeah, we definitely got all
all
off
right.
topic.
So like I know we talked about I'm not sure if Hink spoke on, we'll let Hink speak on it, and then we got to get to some solutions. I know we'll never talk about solutions.
So what you know, I stepped away for a little bit. So what was the question, Jay? I'm sorry.
Well, we just bringing it back to the black family is in crisis. The clip that I played with Frazier.
Man, we got far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the one of the most important thing, man, is more people have to be open to get married. You know what I'm saying? And doing it that way. I think that's going to be the most important thing in order to help the black families. You know what I'm saying? I know we was talking about earlier, talking about marrying your high school sweetheart. Sometimes that don't work, because when you talking about doing it that young, like man Law said, it was an anomaly that he did it. That's not the norm, because at the time y'all both immature, y'all both a little bit of childish, and y'all think it's selfishly. But then y'all start to grow up and start to mature and start to learn different things, and then you come to realize, yeah, this heifer ain't as nice as I thought she was. Not in reality. I made a mistake by marrying this crazy ass woman. I probably shouldn't have. So, but I think us coming together as black people is going to be the most important thing. That in my opinion.
All right. What about you, Bob? Marcus, you got any solutions?
Yeah, men should probably focus on building a career and getting to know who they are. So by the time they turn 30 to 35, they will realistically have a mission or a set way they want to live their life. And at that point, select a wife that fits that criteria based off understanding the difference in the women they've dated up until that point, know the things they like and dislike, be able to set clear and strong boundaries, be able to enforce those boundaries, understand that you can't lead with your heart, so your head is going to have to make decisions a lot of times. So even if you love with the sex or whatever, you still need to be able to walk away when it's not beneficial, so she understands that she can't just do whatever, and that your house will have some order and law with this side of it. When you have kids, make sure you've been in that relationship at least 2 to 3 years, so that you can see some ins and outs and go through a couple different seasons with somebody. Have real strong conversations about the trajectory of what you think is acceptable or unacceptable for kids, whether that be if you want to spank, whether that be if you think alternative methods is the only way about going about it. Have a religious conversation. You need to really understand how that person ticks before you make major life decisions, such as having a child by them. And then understand, once you have the child, that your life is more so about the family unit than about yourself, and move forward with that knowledge to the best of your ability.
What about you, Law? Any solutions for this black family crisis?
Definitely. I always say one thing we need to make sure that we are doing is dating with a purpose. Marry before you carry. You dig what I'm saying? And also just make sure that you're having those communication conversations, so that way when it comes time for you to move on to that next level, you know who you're dealing with and what you're dealing with, or at least give an idea of it, because people always can change. But just make sure you're having those conversations, so that you're doing something to better the community and the lives going forward, not making more broken homes, because we see way too much of that. You dig what I'm saying? It's very easy to strap it up, wrap it up. If y'all gonna have fun, that's one thing. But when you start making these decisions to ignore those precautions, now you're putting yourself in a different ball game, and you need to be accountable for such things.
What about you, Kenny? I see you came out the mic.
Normalize therapy. We all need it. The majority of us come from a place of trauma. We're not on real good footing. We have an idea of what we want, We have a lot of unhealthy habits. Learn from me, learn from the other brothers as for where we fall short, and be consistent in being that thing that you want to reciprocate back in the world. Then and only then you will be able to attract the energy that you want within a counterpoint, meaning a female in your life. And those things that Hank talked about as for disagreements, they could be ironed out better because there'll be trade-offs and compromises. You can sit across from somebody and still love them and not agree with everything or like everything about them, but stick it through. And then people will learn from you because now you're moving in a healthy space. Mental health first before you go cleave to somebody and give them your baggage. Make sure you clean up your house. I dropped it there.
All right, go ahead, Viz.
Yeah, I think that it's imperative for us to for young men or young men and women, well, men and women in general, to find solid support systems. Yeah, therapy is always good, but I think especially us as men, we may feel more comfortable finding that person to look up to or to be inspired from in group settings. So if you have five men that you know you can go and talk to and be vulnerable with, to speak about what it is that you're experiencing or what your goals may be, what your wants and desires may be, how to potentially to get the woman that you're with to fully submit or whatever the case may be. If you're in those settings to where you can get that solid wealth of knowledge from them, much rather than the toxic information that's being thrown around on the internet, I think that would do a drastic change, because then people will understand the value of intaking poor media, toxic movies, toxic music. Your taste buds will change to what it is that you're used to intaking, and you'll become sick of it. So I think that's one way that we can really be able to do a major dent, put a major dent in the way that the culture is going and what it is that we're seeing every day.
All right, Ikene, you there? All right, so we're just giving some solutions as far as before we get up out of here. Solutions to the Black family crisis that we have.
Solutions? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, like I know you like to talk about the problem all the time, but we're just trying to get some solutions before we get up out of here.
Yeah, solution is gonna be hard, but guess what? Is one I gotta put it this way. Something that has been damaged for such a long time is gonna take 2 to 3 generations to fix. But we gotta start right now. Because it's spreading as wildfire, but the good thing is that people are fighting back. Because I remember when I first came here, it was really bad. But now folks are talking about it. People are being ashamed. That is where the solution starts. If you're speaking out, it's just like somebody going, if you're sick, let me put it this way. If you're sick, right, you can't be cured if you don't go to doctor. First, you have to acknowledge that you're sick. Then second, you have to go to the hospital. Then you have to tell the doctor everything, how you feel, symptoms. You have to be honest, straight. Don't hide nothing. You have to tell the doctor where the pains are coming from. That's how things start. So that's the good thing that is happening in Black community now. People are talking, but you gotta understand that some people are profiting from the messed up in the community. Some people prefer where it is because the reason why they prefer where it is because they are part of the problem, or they are scared to be left behind. Another thing is that they are scared of the unknown. They've always been in this situation since they were born. They've never experienced anything beyond this. So going to the place unknown is very scary. But is there going to be But is there going to be a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes, I can see the changes now. The marriage rate, apart from what that guy said, the marriage rate is coming up now. But black men are actually leading the marriage rate. More black men are getting married. So that is what is pushing the black rate up. Black women, yes, they are beginning to talk about getting married, but not that they are getting married at a higher rate than before. But black men are the one actually getting married today. They're not just getting married to black women, they are expanding. But for me, the solution should be the black men have to get married to the black women first. You got to, I'm not the only one that met a woman that may have been difficult from the first time, but I had to talk to her. I had to calm her down. I had to get into her. I had to change her. That's how she was able to calm down. Most black women, due to the families that they're coming from, due to their life experience, are not going to submit right away because they've never experienced submission. You, as the man, you have to understand submission. You have to know how to get a woman to submit. You have to do the things that will make a woman submit. And then you submit. Then you get her to submit. But she's supposed to know those things, but unfortunately, she doesn't. So, what is the solution? You have to teach somebody that doesn't know nothing. Knowledge. This is what I always tell black men and men around me. Knowledge is not given, knowledge is acquired. A woman can never be submissive if she had never acquired the knowledge to be submissive. It has to be given to her by her mother and her father. She has to have a man in the house to submit to. But if she never had a man in the house to submit to, how is she going to submit? You, the man that have come into her life, you want her to submit, you have to muzzle her to submit. You don't ask her to submit. In some cases, you have to muzzle her. You don't have to be physical about it, but you can be manipulative about it. You see what I'm saying? You can be manipulative about it. Don't give it up. I see solutions all around us. But the thing is that I'll be honest with you guys, most of the men just give up from even trying to help. They just walk away because there are many women to walk to. But most of the women are damaged. They are damaged. I'll be honest with you, most black women are damaged. They might have gone to college, they're still damaged because they had a childhood from somewhere. Education doesn't fix somebody easily like that. She has degree, but she's a damaged woman.
Right? That's like the black woman, huh? She's damaged.
I mean, everybody is damaged. I want to say Buddha. When you get into the studies of Buddha, the entire premise of it is that if once you remove all desires of anything, then there's nothing that can damage you. So just going outside, just being alive, living an everyday life, in some way, shape, or form, is going to be damaged. You're going to be damaged. You're going to be let down. You're going to be hurt, whatever the case may be. I think the deciding factor of it is how is it that you adapt and deal with it. If a person doesn't know, man or woman, if you don't know how to adapt and to deal with whatever it is that you're experiencing, then that's how you're going to treat everything in life. But if you're able to understand how to maneuver and manipulate the situation to work in your favor, then that's what truly matters, regardless if they've been hurt or not, or damaged rather.
So how do you repair that damage, Viz? You do what?
The only way to repair it is for that person to do internal work. As a man, there's not much that you can do to repair a damaged woman. That woman has to want to repair that. You can guide her in the right path. You can lead her on that path. But if she doesn't want to fix and heal that damaged area, then there ain't shit that you can do about it.
You ever had a woman slug you, Viz?
Slug me?
Like hit you?
Like with a closed fist? No.
Slap maybe?
I've had a ex scratch at me. Yeah.
How'd you deal with it?
Shit, I restrained her and walked away.
Restraint. Okay. How long did you stay with her after that?
Shit, one day.
Don't you pack your stuff? Or how'd that work?
Yeah, she moved out.
Oh, put out. Orange juice.
Yeah,
Jones. Got you.
Yeah, that's something that I never dealt with. I understand what it is that I would do to a man if they put hands on on a family member or a sibling. So I've never placed myself in that position because I know the extent of where it is that I'm willing to take it. So I'm not even going to place myself in a position with a woman that if the police gets involved, then there's no reason for me to be here because this isn't a place for me. I'm too valuable for that. So I walked away from that immediately. And I think all men should.
You ever done therapy?
I have.
Okay. Well, I think that's a big push. If we can normalize more men to sit down and try to unpack stuff. I get your point with working on the internals, but we really need to start pushing more therapy. A lot of people push biblical. Go pick up the good book. Go clap. Nothing wrong with church. Salute to the pastors and ministers. But to all the audience members, male, female, let's try to like normalize in 2025 therapy, working through our things. You can add the good book if you want to. That's icing on the cake. Yeah. I'll leave it there.
I just want to extrapolate on Viz's point about the ability to walk away, the power in that. Essentially, I know sometimes because I've heard men say like, "Oh, she'll never learn," or in that specific situation, it's not on you to force her to learn because she gonna put your life in jeopardy from either her cousins, uncles, or maybe she might get a gun because violence always escalates. Once you open that tub on violence, I'm just trained to believe that it's usually gonna end in death, and especially when it comes to people protecting the women and the children, the people in their family. Just avoid that shit all the way. You can replace her. You can replace anybody. You know what I'm saying? She got here the same way the last one got here. Somebody had to get replaced. You know what I'm saying? You set your boundaries and you stand on that shit and realize your presence is a gift. You don't have to give that gift to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like Via said, he's valuable. I value myself. If I don't feel like I'm getting the right treatment, we ain't got shit. It's a wrap. We don't got to argue with it no more. None of that stuff. When I've determined that this ain't right for me, I'm just gonna bounce. She don't get a reason or to try and let me make it better. No, because you should have made it right from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's granted that you did the right things as a man and laid like your foundation. When people talk about laying a law down and laying their foundation, a lot of times people fail to set their boundaries up front. Like, hey, I don't tolerate women calling me no bitch. I don't tolerate women hitting me. Like, it's a lot of things that I feel are disrespectful. If you're unclear, you can come ask me about, hey, how you feel about this? We can have a conversation about it. But you're not gonna do X, Y, Z to me, and then this relationship continue. I'll replace your ass. That it's as simple as that.
All right. We got Trev. What's going on, brother? $20 says greatest session tonight, brothers. Those stats were crazy. We must make the black nuclear family the norm again. Gentlemen, keep putting in work. We also have my soap 499. 82% of black women are obese or overweight in this country. Does her diet affect the children?
Yeah, I got something to say about what Kenny said earlier about therapy. I don't encourage people to go for therapy. But before I say that, if a woman put her hand on you, get rid of her. That's it. Just end the relationship. Because number one, it goes downhill from there. You will never recover, she will never recover. Once that happens, cut it off. Gone. Your wife, go for proceed for divorce right away. There I go. And then when it comes to therapy, this is what I always say to folks, right? Therapy is very dangerous. The reason why I say therapy is very dangerous is because most of the problem that America encounter today is because of therapy. There is no country on earth that has licensed therapy like United States. And that's the worst case scenario globally. And because people are therapists. How can you go to somebody that has a bad life, not married, no experience, and then you want to get a person to counsel her about marriage? I understand they read it in school. I understand that they read it in school, but school is not where people actually go to learn when it comes to social science. In social science, people go to school to have an opinion and then do things based on their opinion. It's just like being a lawyer. You don't need a degree to be a lawyer, if you want to be honest. You can actually become a lawyer by the tradition and custom of your own people. Law has been around, is actually the second oldest profession, is law degree, after farming. Because as long as there is community, there is justice. There are people that will come and talk, defend, prosecute. It's the second oldest degree on earth. But what I'm trying to say is this, right? Instead of you to go to somebody to counsel you, a therapist to talk to you about what is wrong with you, go to people that know you. That's your family members. Look for somebody, your aunt, your uncle, that always tell you the truth. Ask him what is wrong about you. And I tell you, they have 5 hours with you. They will tell you everything you've done wrong. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be painful. But the reason why most of us go to therapy is because we want to go to somebody that we can lie to and manipulate the discussion so that the therapeutic will be in our favor. You're only digging hole for yourself. Go to people that know you and ask them to help you out. And they know how to help you out as long as that person is honest, not dishonest uncles. I'm talking about people that have your own best interest.
I don't know. I
Kenny,
got
Kenny, I got to give you pushback, and I have to ask a question. Have you ever sat down with a therapist?
You're muted.
I never did. The reason why I never did is because I have seen people that have gone to therapy around me and they only got worse. And the reason why is because they never went there to tell the truth. They went
Okay.
there to
Mhm.
skew things. But guess what? When I was growing up, I was a very stubborn kid. Do you know who got me right? My uncles. It was family members that got me right. They're the one that know where it started, and they're the one that didn't want to hear my bullshit because they know my bullshit and they help to fix my bullshit. If I go to a therapist, I'm only going to tell him what is not my fault, but what is somebody else's fault, so that the outcome will be in my favor. But it's only hole that I'm digging for myself.
Okay. Have you ever told any of your family members or people that weren't clinically trained your intimate secrets and they ever weaponized them against you?
That is why I first said that you have to go to the family members that have your best interest,
How do you
not people that
know
are.
that you could talk to any family member? And I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
an example.
Mhm.
You only know people when you put them in moments of adversity. Like they use that trope like 2 times when you know someone's telling the truth to you is when they're angry or they're drunk. Now, you said you never did therapy, but you're giving a you know a summary on why it doesn't work from your anecdotal experience of seeing people and you didn't see the work done. Okay,
Yeah.
first, work is not done overnight. Two, a therapist can't tell you what to do. They can show you what to look at. And then you make the necessary adjustments depending on how effective the therapist is. You have to do the work. Um, that's like your, your armchair quarterback, and if you never sat in a chair. And when you say that you're going off of what you see rather than actually sitting down with someone saying that because they're not married, that could be either here or there, someone that spent probably 10 years in school that has been with case study people that, go over many different personalities. Also, we're not really that different as people. Our problems are like circular as people. We just have to have the right person to point us in the right directions where we don't see. So you can push back on it if you never sat there. It kind of makes what you say fall flat if you never invested time in it rather than looking at somebody else's view of it. I get that you're grounded, right? You have core values, you're a successful black man. And that one I would hasten you to stay away from unless you do take therapy and be open and objective. Of course, people lie in therapy with an effective therapist, they eventually break those people down, point out their lies, and help them walk through it if they're willing to. And I'll drop right there.
Okay. I'm glad you said something about effective therapist. That a therapist will break them down. But you got. But look at it this way. Um, I'm not speaking because I'm just speaking. I'm speaking because it's a fact that has gone around, and it's a fact that we all know. When a if you look at, let me say, 200 people, after that 200, 30 people out of them might come out of that session changed because of the therapist that was well equipped, didn't buy their BS, dig more deeper. But most therapists will not do that because they're getting paid. They don't want to lose their client, right? Because they already know that that client is full of nonsense at the very get go, right? But family members will not look at you like that. An honest uncle, an honest auntie, they already, before you step in, they already know what you're coming for because they've seen you gone through it throughout life. They know when you started that behavior. And when you're discussing that behavior, they know where you're heading to because they've seen you over and over and over lie so much or be in that character or in denial. Maybe not a lie, but in denial. So they know where to start. The reason why I'm telling you this is this, right? I'm from a place where therapists are very minimum. And family members deal with situations from your uncle to your auntie to your mom and your dad. They deal with situations. Even your own mother, your father gets confronted because they're the one that enabled you. You see what I'm saying? They get confronted by family members because they enabled you. I have cousins today that act crazy in the family, just like every family has crazy cousins and brothers and sisters. When we see any of us acting wrong, we discuss the very moment that nonsense started in that person's life. And then when we have to confront that person, we confront him. When he comes to ask us or she comes to ask us a question, we talk to them because we know where the issue started. With a therapy, but when you go to a therapist, you have to have weeks and months before the therapist is able to break you down if he's an honest therapist. But family members break you down right away. They get to you right away. But the only thing is, you might fight it off, you might get mad, you might walk away, you might never want to talk to them again because they're telling you the raw truth.
With that, and that's actually the pushback that I was going to give. I think that, especially with you coming from a different culture, I think that Black American culture is very different from what country you from? Say it again.
Nigeria.
So I'm quite sure that the cultures are completely different between American, Chicago, Texas, wherever, compared to Nigerian, especially within the family culture, the mold of it. I personally, I think that therapy has its place. Yes, I do understand and believe as well that it does take time for that, not only for the therapist to fully open the door, but the person receiving the therapy to even be willing to open the door to find out what's really going on. So that on its own is its own battle. Now, I think my pushback as far as with doing it with family is now the person that's going to family to ask for it, they may take it the wrong way. The family members may deliver the message the wrong way to where now the person receiving it is going to give pushback just because they may feel attacked or whatever the case may be. I personally think the best thing that a man or a woman can do in that situation is to find a mentor, because now you understand, with a mentor, this person has a completely different end goal for you. There's not much aside from seeing the growth of their mentee. That's the payout, much rather than it being a cash value, or in some cases with family, it being more so ego. So I think the best thing that a man or woman can do to truly heal and become the better version of themselves is to find a solid mentor that can pour into you things that a therapist could never pour into you, or even your family. Because even in the case of your family is going to be pouring something into you to an extent that you've been receiving all your entire life that a mentor will never be able to do. So I will give pushback on the both of those and say that I think that a mentor is best.
So I think that all of these are tools. Therapy is a tool, your family can be a tool, and no tool just works unilaterally. We all complex individuals that have different scenarios or situations. Some people need to focus primarily on therapy due to their familiar situation or whatever else. Some people can go to the elders in the family or the people who've experienced things and get the information from. Sometimes you just got fools in your family that don't know nothing. They can't teach you nothing. So I think it's a wide gambit. The main point, I think the takeaway from this is find the tool that's effective for you. If you have not been able to get the solutions from your family, then seek the therapist or a mentor or whatever combination of those things work best so you can get to a better place. I think they all useful.
If you look at it like this, Marcus, right? You see, let me put it this way. If we are talking about individual case, right? Something that is wrong with you, that is wrong with someone, and is very individual, yes, therapy might be a solution. But when it involves two or more people, when it involves marriage, family is usually the best too. And I will tell you why. Because they will tell you the truth because they saw everything. They've been looking at it, they've been involved one way or the other. They've seen it all. They know when you get, because except if you're talking about somebody that is so private. There are people that are very, very private. Family will never know what is going on in their marriage. But that's not the case for most people. Most people's life are out in the open, especially for their family members. So in that situation, what I usually will say is that if you go to your uncles, your aunties, your mothers, your fathers, and have this discussion, and your intention is to fix your family, right? To fix the problem. You will tell them, even when you start lying, they know you're lying because they've seen you all these years. Their best intention is to fix your family without money being involved. Nobody's being paid. Their reward is to see you in a good relationship with your spouse. A therapist, you have to pay for that. A therapist have a financial interest first. Your interest of getting your marriage together is secondary to them. But the question is, can you afford a therapist that will be able to sit you down over a period of hours and you're going to be able to tell them the truth of what you've done to your spouse and what your spouse have done to you? And you have to lay that dirty laundry. We're not talking about people that have seen the dirty laundry. We're talking about people that have no knowledge, but now you have to tell the story. Family members have seen it. You see the difference?
But family members can also be biased. Like they can also want to see you single because they're single. They could also want you to be able to move in with you, so they break your family up so that they can have a place to live in your home. Like we in a good faith conversation, yeah, ideally what you're saying should be the way, but that requires you to have an example above you of exactly what you want, and that person be truthful, and that person be honest, and that person have your best intent, and that person be able to keep a secret, and that person, you, in an ideal scenario, I agree. If we can hit all those metrics with somebody, then yeah. But not everybody is in that scenario. It's a lot of people who families is in disarray or in various different forms, or they're people who dealing with different things that, like, it's people who gonna come to the younger people for advice for some of the things that they dealing with, because some solutions that we may have that they have not quite solved yet in their life. So I'm not saying the family is bad. I'm just saying it's a cocktail. It's a cocktail. You got to figure out the cocktail that worked for you. Like it's not a one size fit all.
Yeah, that's fair. I think another downside, in my opinion, especially with Ikene saying that therapy isn't a thing in Africa. I think one of the big reasons why we see such a mental health problem in America now is because we've labeled everything something. So with that being, if you go in and you speak to a therapist and the therapist say, "Oh, you bipolar," now depending on that person's mentality, they're going to now use that as a crutch. Oh, I'm justifying and validating me acting this way because I'm bipolar, or I'm justifying me acting this way because I have schizo tendencies or whatever. So with placing these titles on these problems that people have, and then being potentially prescribed a medicine to a drug rather to fix it or to help you deal with it. I think that adds to the confusion of that person not becoming a better version of themselves. Again, much rather than finding a mentor that truly may have come from the same thing you came from, and they're giving you the game as far as with how to deal with it, how to overcome it, and how to become the better version of yourself.
But
And it's
Vix,
unbiased.
if you look at it this way, right? There is no family that doesn't have somebody in that family that someone can go to and talk to. That good uncle, not cool uncle, because cool uncle is not good. Talking about good uncle, that uncle that can tell you the truth. You know he speaks the truth, and nobody want to go to him because he sees it. He sees all of you, and he calls all the bullshit in the family. And he's willing to talk. He's willing to sit down and advise. Most people don't want to go to him because it's not a cool uncle. You see what I'm saying? We all have that in our family. But let me acknowledge one thing. There is a big problem that I've seen in America since I came here 20 something years ago. People can just park when they're 18 and walk away from their family members and never see them for the next 20, 30 years. They don't come home for family stuff. They don't even have family connections. Those are hard things to deal with. That is why I always talk about community. You got to go back to your people once or twice a year. You have to have that family meeting. You have to sit down and talk and exchange greetings and exchange pleasantries and talk about what the year has been. Not just your mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters, extended family members. You guys have to come together. If your great grandma was from South Carolina, meet in South Carolina once a year, or once every other year, or twice a year, so that way you guys get acquaintance with each other. You discuss family members. You don't only meet when somebody dies. That's the
Yeah,
problem that has.
most of us
Yeah,
have family reunions, Kene. That's not
that's what
a
I'm saying. But
that's
sometimes
not a
it's
rare.
once in 10 it's once in 10 years. Sometimes it's once in 5 years. I'm talking like my hometown in Nigeria. I go there 2, 3 times a year. Me and my cousins will talk on the phone. In fact, we have a WhatsApp group WhatsApp that over 70 boys in the family are all in that WhatsApp group. We talk. You see what I'm saying? I don't see that relationship here. That relationship has to be cultivated. It has to be built.
How would you see it though?
Huh?
How would you see it?
How would I see what?
You said you don't see that relationship. My question is, how would you see it?
No, I said that relationship has to be cultivated to get
Right.
that. Yeah, people have to reach out to their cousins. You have to talk. You have to build relationship. You have to build that community. You have to be able to not just you live in Chicago and you never talk to somebody in North Carolina and South Carolina until the reunion. Then you get to talk again. Many years and months have passed. They've forgotten about you. Maybe they think about you once or twice, but it's not supposed to be like that in family. That community has to be built. We cannot have an African American, a black, let me just say, let me not say African American, let me say black community, which is all of us. We can have a community in this America where we are, both Africans and African Americans, in our individual and respective families, don't come together. You see what I'm saying? And talk. Call your cousin. Check on your cousin once a month, once in 2 months, once in 3 months. Call your cousin. Check on them. It might be a 5 minutes phone call. Meet once a year, meet once every other year, or twice a year. Personal touch is very powerful. You see what I'm saying? There are going to be assholes in your family. I know that. But you can't deal with all the assholes. You can deal with one asshole and the rest of the good people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we do that. That's why I was trying to figure out where, like, in abundance, you believe we don't do that. That's why I was trying to understand.
No, a lot of family, a lot of people in this country don't even go to their family. They don't even discuss with their mothers, their fathers. They don't even meet with family members. We all know that. Marcus, you might be the one doing it right. There are people out there that don't do it.
So I grew up with some people that was wards of the state, right? To the example earlier. And now they don't have any of those families. And a lot of times they get extended families, and we be adopting people in our families. Like, especially like not actually physically on paper, but they be like a play cousin that's been there forever because they didn't have XYZ. Like in the community that I grew up, shit, even the most ratchet people, they had events at their house all the time. Like, I don't know. It might not be, I don't know. That's not been my experience. That's why I'm kind of confused about it. That's not been my, like, even with my family, like, we got a whole book that date each one of our family members down to the 1700s, like detailed down to the slave receipts. And then we have a family reunion every 2 years for that side of the family. And my other side of the family, we all stayed in the same community. Like, that's why one of the reasons I wouldn't want to leave Chicago. I got about 35 family members within a 1 mile radius. We got like a jump off hub my grandparents' house where everybody always, you just bump into we like, shit, I ain't got nothing to do. I'm gonna slide over here. And they might just be on the porch or in the back working on the car or down the street. Like, I don't know. That's been my experience from what I see.
Yeah, but I don't know. But the thing is, um, experience is the best teacher. Your experience is many people's experience. We have had your experience is something that I have also had before. You see what I'm saying? All of us, I would say one unique thing about life is that most of us have one or two experiences that we all shared together. Most of our experiences are not unique to one person. You see what I'm saying? But I always say this: um, family is something that we have, because JR was saying, "What is the solution?" And the solution that I'm discussing tonight is this: we have to not avoid our family members.
I
We
agree.
have to not avoid discussing with our spouse what is wrong. I have this discussion with my wife every day. Every day she does something wrong, I tell her and I move on. You see it's not everything that I have to correct, right? But almost everything I have to speak up. Because if you don't speak up, it becomes normal. And if it becomes normal, somebody gets violent and then somebody goes to jail. But one way to avoid it is to always state that I don't like this. And you sometimes insist that it doesn't repeat again or is fixed, and you keep moving. But one thing that I got to say is this, right? Family is very necessary. If you have a good relationship with your family, you're going to have good relationship with your spouse. If you don't have good relationship with your family, there is no way you can have good relationship with your spouse. It's very difficult because you are an isolationist. People that are isolated don't have social skills. And social skill doesn't end with you and your wife. For you to be able to have a good wife or have a wife that you can deal with or talk to or mold or whatever, you have to have social skills. That is why it's good to communicate, it's good to come together, it's good to always interact. So that's the solution that I would say. And every black person in America can never be good person. There are rotten people. Rotten people gotta let go. You gotta let them go But the greater the number of people that can do it right, the better it is. Like I tell black men every time, when you get a woman that you know fits your lifestyle. But the problem is that most of us always go for girls that we know that are bad. I made that mistake. I stopped making that mistake by the time I turned 23, 24. I stopped it. Because from 24, I was ready to marry, even though I didn't marry until another 20 something years, almost 15 years later. But I had to start vetting. And I got to tell you, if I didn't vet, right, I would have married by 25 or 26. But because I started vetting, right, I didn't marry until I actually met my wife when I was 30. We got married when I was 37 or 38. But because of that vetting system that I applied, right, I was able to, number one, get the right girl. But living in two different states made our marriage to take too long to happen. But I knew I found the wrong one because I vetted her family members. You can't just vet a woman. You have to vet her family members. You have to know which family she's from. Because when you marry that woman, that is one thing that happens in America that makes me laugh. When men or women marry, they think, oh, I love him, I love her, and that's it. No, that is one step. There are thousands of steps. But the two crucial steps is that you have to vet the girl and vet her family. You have to know if the mother's head is right and the father's head is right. Not that one of their head is right. Both heads have to be right. Now you can talk about marrying their daughter. But the daughter's head has to be right first before those two heads. Then you move forward from there. Then what kind of brothers does she have? Her brothers gangbangers? Because she might have the right family, but she have also brothers. Does she have sisters that are prostitutes? Or maybe one of her sisters is a prostitute? So those are things you have to vet. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just one step. There are
Hey,
many
look,
steps.
if a girl's sister's a prostitute and your girl is the lady that you wish to marry is upstanding, do it the right way, you're not gonna marry her because her
No, we're
sister
not.
has a different lifestyle.
No, we're not. You know why we're not? I won't
Mhm.
marry a girl that I will not marry a girl
That's very
that is a
judgmental.
no, I am very judgmental. I will not
Oh, you
marry a
admit it.
girl.
Oh, I can
Of
rock with
course, I
that.
am. I will tell you the honest truth. I'm an Igbo man. I'm very judgmental.
Mhm.
So the reason why I won't do that is because the family is contaminated. And the reason why the family is contaminated is that if I marry that girl that is a good girl, but a lesbian sister or a prostitute sister, guess what I can't do? I can't stop her sister from coming to my house. And I cannot stop her from taking my child or my children to her family's house where her sister might end up being the same time. And guess who is going to influence my kids? Her sister.
So you don't want no studs around your children.
Nope. Especially when it's family members.
I got you. I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't come with the Timbs on and trying to dap you up and say you don't use those pronouns either. You don't identify them as he or nothing like that, right?
Okay. Which one is
You know,
E?
no, like they say, if someone identifies as a man, even though it's not a man, you don't play that, right?
No, I don't play that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Old
don't
school.
play that because
Old
number
school. I
one,
like
the reason why I don't play that is number one is you see there is something that you see there is some an adage that says you don't play with fire. You see what I'm saying? And you don't in English you say you don't like a match. A match is in a gas station.
Mhm.
You're gonna blow things up. So if you that is why I had a girl one time. ask me, would you marry a girl that you love? I'm like, I'm not interested in loving a girl that I have to marry. I will marry a woman that respects me. She doesn't have to be beautiful, but she has to respect me. And she has to have a right, her head has to be right. And she has to come from the right family. You see what I'm saying? She has to come from the right family for me to marry her. I can't just go and marry a girl just because I fell in love. I wasn't raised like that to fall in love to a woman, to marry a woman. No, I was taught culture and custom. Yeah.
Got you. Good respect there.
We're
But
gonna
I
go ahead and
still give
close
you
out.
pushback unless you do therapy or I understand the family dynamic. There's more than one way as for how you get to your mental healing and your mental and spiritual healing to become a better person. I lean toward Mr. White, and I believe that there's more ways to skin a cat, but we don't want to ever discredit the people that spend the time, put in all the years toward helping us. We know about big pharma. We can give pushback on them trying to self-medicate people because the money is not in the cure, it's in the treatment. We all know that. But I would haste that we don't discredit the people that put the time in and they put a passion behind it. That's like me saying, hey, Kenny, if you're an engineer, I don't believe what you say. I go and find a car mechanic to tell me different. That would be that would be me discrediting all the years and your 10,000 hours you put into what you do. I understand the core family values that you wish to instill in this Western hemisphere. It's easy to say it's a whole lot different, and we know this. But we can always be aspirationalized for where it should go. Again, I stress
Yeah,
we
let me
all.
let me say this to you, Kenny. Based on what you said, I think you said something about what I'm trying to. I think it just ran out of my head. You said something about what did you say last again when you addressed my name? Yeah, Kenny. Yeah.
I gave the recap of you being old school, and I respect those core values, but I don't want it to seem that we're discrediting the people that put in the work to become
Okay.
clinicians.
Okay, I got you now. Yeah, I got you now.
I did that
Let me
10,000
put it.
hours.
Yeah, let me put it this way, right? As an engineer, right? I know that there are technicians, and those technicians do much better job than engineers, right? Okay. They are also, you got to look at it this way: the early inventors were not even engineers. The ones that built what engineers are studying today were not even engineers by certificate, by degree. They weren't. They weren't. These are men that were curious and they developed something or things that changed the world without for one day going to university. And there are men today that are still changing the world and never stepped foot into any university. But this is why I want to tell you that family therapists are better than a certificate therapist. A certificate therapist is someone that went to college and has his own certificate from the university after 4 years of college, right?
Mhm.
But in culture and tradition, these people are born into it. They were taught every day of their lives. And from childhood, they were instilled in it. Just like when I discuss with people about marriage, even when I was married or not married, I was able to talk about marriage because guess what? All my life, I've been told the steps of marriage, right? Every day by my dad, my mom. When we are born, right? What our parents do, They prepare us for marriage from the moment we're born, both boys and girls. They don't just prepare us to go to school and study. They also, because every day your parents is telling you, do this because this is not how you're going to treat your wife. Do this, do this. This is not how you're going to treat your husband. You see what I'm saying? From the very moment I have memory to retain, I started hearing those things coming out of my mom and my dad and my aunties and my uncles. You are taught every day of your life how to be a man, how to be a husband, how to be a father, how to be a provider. So I didn't need to go to therapists for therapists to tell me that. You see what I'm saying? Because all my life I've been told that. Yeah.
But again, if you haven't been to a therapist, you don't know what the therapist is going to present to you. What you're doing now is making assumptions on what you believe you will hear. I am not discrediting you because you're successful. You're a nuclear father within a nuclear family, still adhering to old school values of what made your family and other families from where you come from very successful. But I would hasten you to not throw that in the dumpster without actually putting your foot in there.
But you
And
know that
say,
this thing is also in African American community, because I have friends that are African Americans that do the same thing. They raise their kids the same way. It's not just a Nigerian thing; it's a black thing of both parents being involved. Am I right, Vix? Yes, or Marcos? I don't know if you guys are listening to me. This is something that is also discussed in African American society community, because I've seen parents talk to their daughters and sons the same way, teach them culturally. I'm not saying that people shouldn't go to therapists, right? But I said people should vet therapists. Make sure you go to the right one, and not only that, but go to family first.
okay.
Yeah, definitely. Just having a degree doesn't mean that you know what you're talking about or that you'll be an effective therapist. So I do agree with him on that part, because um, in my opinion, anyone can go to school and pass with a C, and get a title. That doesn't necessarily mean that you know what you're talking about. I know plenty of people that are extremely brilliant in fields that they didn't go to college for, but they know what the fuck they're talking about. So I think that it is important to definitely vet the person that you're potentially going to share your thoughts with, because everybody isn't qualified, even if they are a therapist. So definitely do your due diligence, and just how Marcus said, figure out which tool is going to be most effective for you.
The question that I have for Kenny, you're a therapist, right? Let me say something real quick to you, Kenny. I've listened to you talk for the past year or so, right? If somebody asked me to go to a therapist, and I'm on YouTube and I've seen Kenny talk many times, I would go to therapist under your supervision, or under your profession. The reason why I would do that is because, blunt. One thing that people need to get from therapists is blunt. A therapist has to speak blunt, but also carefully.
Are you asking me?
With no, no, I'm just speaking. A therapist has to speak blunt, but carefully deliver the message, especially when you're meeting that person for the first time. But probing that person that I've seen you done many, many times here is one thing that I will always take off my cap for, because that's a true therapist. You have to dig in, dig in deeper, find out more about that person, and not listen to them just telling you what they want to tell you. But the problem is, Kenny, not a lot of therapists are not like you. Because if most therapists are like you, guess what? We won't have broken marriages today at the rate that we have. In fact, most people that have been to therapies end up leaving their marriage. We've seen on YouTube where especially female therapists are actually telling female to leave their marriage. You don't need that, man. We've seen it on
And
YouTube therapists.
who's doing that?
We've seen on YouTube therapists encouraging people to leave their marriage.
Are you talking
We've
about
seen people,
Princella?
not just Priscilla, I'm not talking about Priscilla. There are many therapists YouTube out there. YouTube is almost 1 million people that upload video per second per minute. You see what I'm saying? And of that 1 million, you got to know how many people are therapists in it. I come across these videos all the time. But what I'm saying in essence is this, right? You might be a therapist. You are a therapist, a good one. Doesn't mean that every therapist out there is giving the best advice, because we have marriages that have been rocked after people went to therapy. Countless of them. Because to me personally, if it's not physical, a therapist should do whatever he or she could to save a marriage if it's not physical. All this psychological abuse, I don't buy it. That's the easiest way for people to get out of something, because they know that there is no physical evidence, so they use psychological and say, oh, that I was psychologically abused, emotionally abused. You see what I'm saying? And therapists do support that, they do push for that and all these things.
Yeah, we just saw therapists telling people not to spend Thanksgiving with their family if they voted for Trump. I mean, and we seeing that on social media that's reaching
Yeah, where?
everybody.
Cite your source. Keep telling you that.
You sitting on the internet right now.
Nah, I'm
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that every time.
No.
But it's the harsh reality again is that anybody can go to school for 4 years and get the questions right. But that doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about.
I would like you to stop disrespecting therapists, and they go to school more than 4 years. So you would need to know what they go through before you start just putting out points that aren't making sense, or you don't have the necessary information as just for just being an antagonist. Those people spend a lot more time than 4 years in school, sir.
You saying all people, all therapists?
Okay, do the research first before you say they just do 4 years.
I just asked you a question.
Depending on what your specialty is, it is more than 4 years for you to be a clinician with what we're speaking about. So when you throw that all word in, you're looking for a way out. No, what we're speaking on, those people that sit you down and help you work through your mental issues and your trauma, those people do way more than 4 years. Internet's
All
right
of them?
there.
All of them? That's what I said. So you can become a therapist by getting your bachelor's, right? How long does it take to get your bachelor's?
So
everybody doesn't go on to get a master's or a doctorate.
So I will repeat
most
again.
People, the average person, probably wouldn't even be able to afford to go and speak with a therapist that has a doctorate.
How do you know
So
this?
because I went to therapy.
So how do you
See,
know that people don't have good health plans where they just paying a copay to go sit down with a doctor, which is affordable? I mean, a therapist, pardon me, that is affordable. How do you know this?
how do I know what?
That it is unaffordable for you to go sit down with a therapist, and you're saying that these people are not in good health plans and are not just paying a copay. The majority of people that do sit down with therapists.
The majority of people that sit down with therapists are probably speaking to people with bachelors.
How do you know this? That's an assumption.
That is not an assumption. It's from me actually looking for a therapist. I don't know why this simple statement can't compute to that thick ass brain you got.
No,
It's a
because
very simple statement.
no,
If
it
I
actually,
personally have
that's an
looked,
assumption.
it's not an assumption. If
So
I
where,
personally looked on the internet to speak with a therapist,
okay,
and
so
each person would have their title next to their name, and if the
and it tells
majority of
how
the
many
people,
people their service and how many people can afford them.